the issue of culture within a company, when you try and innovate. And the example Ian gave this morning was when you try to have a kind of transparency in civil service about pay structure and so on, it creates a lot of uncertainty. And within the people trying to innovate, actually there's a culture issue there. I don't know if any of you had any thoughts in general, maybe starting with you, Charles, on the whole kind of culture issue.
I completely agree with Lucy's point that culture is the most powerful thing. It's both the most powerful obstacle and the most powerful motive force. And many of the issues that we're dealing with are about ingrained cultures of life that are stuck on housing estates and ingrained cultures of service which don't really address them at all. So I would just say three things. Firstly, I don't think anything that we do works unless we see people's lives first and then services second. So mainly what we often do in the public sector is think about how we can redesign our services for people. Actually what you need to do is understand their lives and what they want to achieve and how the service will help it. And then I think once you've done that, the issues, one of the things that I took away from Alex's presentation is that you have to tune into motivation. You have to make it motivational, aspirational. And then people will start changing. As far as the work cultures go, I think you have to shock people. You have to really shock people to make them understand that what they're doing is not generating outcomes. Swindon, we showed the people involved in Swindon in family services, we showed them a 2-minute clip of a family in crisis to the 30 people running public services in Swindon, police, health. It was utterly shocking to them. And so you need to shock people to say, look, actually what you're doing doesn't work. And then you need to create some positive kind of aspirational, because most of the people I know in the public sector, they want to do a good job. They've got a vocational kind of desire to make a difference, but it's not tapped. They're frustrated by the systems they work in.
I think you can speak about the workplace more. I mean, you can do it in other ways as well, but you need to have a truly inspirational leader or two who leads by example, and then you find other people beginning to kind of follow. And I'll give you just one example from my previous work at the BBC, where I worked in the innovation team for 10 years, and I got the BBC to start blogging, which you would have thought would be quite easy given it's a communications organisation, but it wasn't very easy. It took a year and a lot of summit meetings. But really the result was very interesting for cultural reasons, I think, not the intended outcomes. That once a few people started blogging, other journalists inside the organisation and other people started looking and saying, oh, they're doing that, I can do that better. And of course they're very competitive and want to achieve, and they wanted to have a different way of communicating with their audiences that was more personal. We had to do a lot of preparatory work first to set up blogs inside the organisation and wiki so people could start talking to each other, which is always a precondition for talking to your end users.